Good evening, YouTube. It's kind of late over here, but I wanted to do a video before bedtime to help other fellow writers and poets on how to write better poetry, how to write better novels and short stories. This video is for anyone who is interested in writing and you're just having a lot of trouble with writer's block. You're having a lot of trouble coming up with new ideas, how to put ideas together. You're having trouble being inspired. Perhaps this video can help you with all of that. I've been a writer for a very long time. I know the struggle, and that's why I want to help everyone who watches this video. I want to help you so you don't have to struggle. So all the tips and advice I'm going to give you tonight, they're all based on one idea. And the idea is that you are exercising your mind, your imagination, your creativity, to where when you want them to work, they actually will work. Writer's block is not about lack of talent or lack of skill. Writer's block is just simply the mind not working when you want it to work, simply because it's not used to working. And the way to remedy that is to put it into practice. It's a muscle. You have to work it out. So I'm sure you probably have heard this before, but if you're a writer or you're interested in writing and you want to do the writing thing all the time and you want to get better, get a notebook or a notepad with paper, or you can go high tech and get a blog on a blog site and write in that blog or write in that notepad every single day. Write your thoughts down, write your feelings down. Don't worry about punctuation, spelling, grammar. Just write stuff down. These are your private thoughts. No one is going to read them unless you want them to. So don't worry about being embarrassed. Just get into practice of writing down your thoughts as they come to your mind. What you're doing is you are creating an even flow, an even channel from your mind to your hand. You start thinking something and you'll just be able to write it down with no problem. And you want to start doing that. You want to keep that in practice. Do it every single day, every single day, every single day. And there's going to come a point where it's not hard to do. It becomes really easy to do. Once you reach that point where it's just like it's second nature and it's easy to do, then it's on to step 2. Once you get into the point where you feel that flow happening, then it's time to really open up your imagination and your creativity. And how you do that is by giving yourself little quizzes and little tasks to do to open up your mind. So how do you do that? Well, you give yourself little challenges. Like challenge 1 could be, okay, let's see you make an entire poem based around a pair of scissors, chapstick, and an ink pen. That's your challenge of the day. Make an entire poem or a story based around these 3 objects. They have to be somewhere in that story or in that poem. Just don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Go in any direction you want with that story or that poetry. You might be amazed at the poetry or the stories that come out of just using random objects. Or if you don't want to use random objects, you can simply take a sentence out of a book. Just open the book and the first sentence you see, use that in a poem or use that in a story. Or you could go online and find random pictures and write an entire story or a poem based on that picture. Or maybe a song lyric that you've heard. I mean, there's a million different directions you can go with it. You know, like the song Stairway to Heaven. Okay, Stairway to Heaven. What can I do with that? How can I take that and make that into a poem or make that into a song or make that into a novel, of all things? So if you give yourself little quizzes and tasks like that to do, and you're challenging your mind to be imaginative, be creative, then it's going to start to learn to be creative. It's going to start to be imaginative. It's going to start to learn to go in different directions rather than just being like that. For those of you that are saying, I can't do it, writer's block in the way, there's no inspiration anywhere. That's where you're wrong. There's inspiration everywhere you look. There's inspiration in everything. There's poetry in everything. In this ink pen, in this pair of scissors, it's everywhere. You can take an object such as like these pair of scissors and make an entire poem or story based around them. A really incredible poem. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to just make up some random poetry based on these scissors. And I've not written anything down. I'm not looking at anything. This is just strictly out of my head. You cut into me like a piece of paper, and pieces of me fell all over the floor. I lay there in the dust and the dirt, looking up at you on the table, waiting for you to pick me up. But you had no hands to pick me up. All you had were two bright blades gleaming, pointed in my direction, waiting to cut again, to slice me open, to spill my blood upon the floor. And so I swept myself into the corner, into the dark, dark corner. And I lay there, looking over at you and your bright blades gleaming. And that's just random poetry. You guys might have think that sucked, but that's just what came to mind just by those scissors. So, what else? Oh, also, if you're a person that you're having trouble writing poetry and stories because your reason is, well, writers write from experience, and I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't done anything. I've not traveled to exotic locations. I'm not around a lot of people that I can write about first life experiences. There's a way around that. And the way around that is using sites like YouTube to compensate for that. You don't have to go to Italy to write about Italy. You don't have to bake a chocolate cake to write about a chocolate cake. It helps, but if you don't have a chocolate cake in front of you, you can pull up a picture of a chocolate cake and videos of a chocolate cake and get pretty close. I'm a writer, and one of the things that I've done to help myself out with writing poetry and short stories is I actually made playlists on YouTube showcasing different things. One playlist is entitled Creepy Video Game Ambience Locations. They're videos that people have done where they simply captured something in game that was eerie or calming or whatnot and made a whole video with it. Videos such as dungeons or old dark castles or haunted houses or creepy cemeteries. That's the stuff on that one playlist. So if I want to write about something eerie or haunted or dark, I can just simply pull up something on that list, put the video on, watch it, and get into the proper headspace for that story or that poetry. I also have another playlist of home settings, different living rooms by the fireplace, whatnot, and that's for the home settings, for poetry and for stories. And yet still, there's another playlist with outdoor settings, anything you could ever want. There is, beaches, lakes, rivers, mountains, caves, oceans, all that stuff. And I made all those playlists just for that purpose, just for the purpose of writing. That if I want to picture myself in a certain setting, or put a story or piece of poetry in a certain setting, I can just look at the video, get in the headspace, and get going. I don't have to work so hard to imagine it in my mind if it's right in front of my face. So consider that idea. That if you're writing a story or a piece of poetry and you need to get in a certain headspace, let YouTube help you out. There's videos of everything everywhere. Just pick one and look at it and then put yourself in the right space and start writing. So I hope that helps everybody, and I hope this video has helped you, and take care and God bless.